So for the departure briefing, we're going to be departing runway 25 right. I'll adjust power prior to 60 knots. You'll call V1 rotate. We'll abort for any reason under 80 knots. Between 80 knots and V1, we'll abort for one of four reasons: engine fire, engine failure, aircraft unable to fly, or any indication of wind shear. Past V1, we'll continue the takeoff and conduct our COP procedure. This aircraft is not equipped with the cabin altitude warning system. Therefore, if we hear this horn in flight, oxygen mask come on, regulators set to 100%. We'll establish communication with one another and ensure that the fasten seatbelt sign is on. That's it for the safety briefing. Let's go ahead and do a departure briefing. So for the departure briefing, we're currently find ourselves in an aircraft, no MEL items, weather for departure, our VFR conditions, and no NOTAMs that affect our departure. Taking a look at the airport diagram charts, chart 10-9, 19 July 2013, airport elevation 2,181 feet. Departure radius has been obtained. We're currently located in a position that's going to put us a taxi out of spot most likely 14 by a Bravo 6. Left turn on Bravo all the way down to holding point of 25 right. 25 right's got a heading of 255 set in the heading window on the MCP, and that runway's got 14,512 feet available for takeoff. For our COP procedure, in case we have an engine failure on takeoff, we have the Boeing 737 and 800 chart February 1st, 2013 for runway 25 right. It says maintain V2 and runway heading until 3.8 DME from VOR from Las Vegas VR, which we have reference for on our navigation display. At that point, we'll commence a left climbing turn to direct to Las Vegas VOR, incorporating ourselves into a 2.5 DME arc from waypoint Las 25, which we don't have, but I've created an imaginary waypoint which will give us more or less that 2.5 DME arc. It says do not begin flat retraction until established on a heading and direct to Las Vegas VOR with the altitude attained at the last point. I advise ATC as soon as practicable about your conditions and intentions. It's a pretty much straightforward COP procedure. We're going to go ahead and do it unless it's an engine failure or engine fire, at which point we'll come back to Las Vegas, either 25 left, 25 right, backed up by the ILS we have on standby on Navigate 1 and 2, the ILS for 25 right, and should have no problems coming back in visually. That's for in case we have a engine failure upon takeoff. If we do have a normal departure, if all goes well, we have programmed the Boch 5 departure. That's chart 10-3, 9 November 2012 for McCarran Airport here in Las Vegas. Departure frequency 125.9, transition altitude 18,000 feet. Notes for this departure: DME, IRU, or GPS required. We're all compliant with that. Radar required and RNAV 1 are the three notes which we comply with. All obstacles have been read. We meet a climb gradient that's described in the climb gradient section right here. For the departure itself, off 25 right, says climb initially heading of 255 to 2,681 feet, then direct to Rebel, then track 186 to Roper between 4,800 and 7,000 feet, then track 170 to Rod, then track 160 to Boch at or above 13,000 feet. From Boch intersection, which is our transition, we're going to maintain flight level 190 and expect filed altitude 10 minutes after departure. That's in case of lost comm. Although this route is pretty much 100% RNAV, we don't have any airways or anything like that. I still like to brief the grid mora in that area and having a radial available in case we have to return back to Las Vegas. For that, we're taking a look at the area chart for Las Vegas. That's chart 10-1, 16 August 2013. I've selected Victor 394, which is the 211 set on both Corseros out of Las Vegas VOR. That airway's got an MEA of 12,000 feet, grid more in that sector of 10,800 feet. It's going to be an LNAV VNAV departure. Bleeds on, anti-ice off. If the other crew member has nothing else to add, we'll go ahead and conduct a receiving aircraft checklist. Alright, receiving aircraft checklist. Let's open this up here. Receiving aircraft checklist, circuit breakers and emergency equipment checked, oxygen check set 100%, IRS selectors, nav, hydraulics, checked on, air conditioning and pressurization is set, motor control panel is set, altimeters and flight instruments 2990 set, checked, auto brake, RTO, ground proximity, checked, thrust levers, takeoff warning, free, closed, and checked, parking brake set, start levers, cut off, transponder, squawking 2200 set, standby, logbook, gear pins, check on board, cabin crew and pilot briefings are completed, receiving aircraft checklist is complete. Now we're closing the main cabin door and pulling that jet bridge away from the aircraft, and assuming that all cabin doors are closed and all passengers are seated and all bags underneath and carry-on baggage have been stood properly, we're going to go ahead and do a before start checklist. Right before we do that, we're going to turn on the fasten seatbelt sign and turn our anti-collision light on. Before start checklist, flight deck windows are locked, seatbelt signs on, door lights are out, beacon is on, CDU, pilot flying goes on takeoff page, pilot monitoring goes on legs page, CDU is set, reference speeds 141, 43, 50 set, fuel, not sure how much we require since I don't have a flight plan exactly for this flight today, not sure, but we have more than enough fuel for this flight. On board 30.3 and all 6 pumps are on. Speed levers down to 10, trim 5.35 set and 0 on the rudder. Before start checklist is complete.
And ground cockpit.
Go ahead, Captain.
We're all set to go up here. We've been cleared to push and start at your discretion.
Roger that, ready for push. Power and air are clear, doors closed. We are ready for pushback. Please parking brake, please.
Okay, parking brake is off, cleared to push.
Brakes off, here we go.
Or considering if ground has given us the go-ahead to crank the engines, start sequence is going to be 1, then 2. Starting engine number 1.
Complete. Set parking brake, please.
All right, brakes are set and pressure's normal.
Okay, sir. Tow bar is on.
Well, pressurizing.
Watch the pin on the right.
All right, guys, thanks. You're cleared to disconnect. We will be watching for the pin and the release from guidance on the right side of the airplane, and we'll see you guys next time through.
Roger that. Have a good flight.
Got N1 AGT fuel flow, N2 oil pressure, stable parameter. 56%, we're going to look for start valve to close. 56%, start valve closed. Stable start on number 2. On number 1. Starting engine number 2. Oil pressure rising. We got N1 AGT fuel flow, N2 oil pressure parameters normal. Start valve closed. Good start on number 2. Alright, let's do an after start checklist. Right before we do that, let's do a recall check, flight control check. After start checklist, generators on, pitot heat on, anti-ice off, recall has been checked, flight controls checked, flight deck door is closed and locked, and transponder set to transponder. After start checklist complete. Flaps 5, taxi clearance.
Sailing